This video is a follow-on from the previous 24 videos dealing with price in the precious metals markets. If you haven't seen those videos, I'd recommend you doing so before watching this one. Let's pick up where we left off and look at the second reason why I've been talking about the difference between price and value. I would say that we're not living in ordinary times. We're living in rather extraordinary times. Why do I say this? Well, we're in the midst of a currency crisis, which basically means that currencies cannot be relied on. They are not a reliable means of ascribing value. Let's consider the price of gold to explain what I mean. Gold, like most other products, is usually priced in currency terms. Let's focus on the dollar to gold pairing. At the time of producing this video, the price of gold per ounce was $1,854. You might want to look at the dollar gold chart. Goldprice.org has a chart which goes back to about 1973. If you look at this chart, you'll see that the price of gold in dollar terms has risen over the years. In the last 20 years, it's risen over 400%. The line has been rising from left to right. I would, however, like to suggest that you look at the chart in a different way. Flip the chart over on its horizontal axis, so along the x-axis with the dates. The line is then declining. You can ignore the dollar values on the vertical y-axis, they're not relevant. What's the point of doing this? If you flip the chart, then this will show not the price of gold in dollar terms, but the value of the dollar as it relates to gold. Looking at it this way will show you how much the dollar has declined in value as compared to gold since after the Nixon shock in 1971. In fact, as Alistair McLeod said in an interview on the YouTube channel Liberty and Finance not so long ago, the dollar has lost something like 98% of its value measured in gold since 1971. This same approach can be applied to any currencies. Indeed, to my way of thinking, a good way of assessing the state of any currency is to compare that currency to gold. Gold is, as far as I'm concerned, by far the best measure that can be used for valuing a currency. So you can look also at a gold chart with respect to any currency to see the price action that has occurred over time. For example, the Japanese yen, the euro, or the British pound sterling. Then all you need to do is simply flip it over on its horizontal x-axis and see the general decline. We must bear in mind that standard 4/9 refined gold in the US is no different to standard 4/9 refined gold for sale in the EU, the UK, Japan, Brazil, Turkey, or anywhere in the world. So it's something of a consistent gauge. I would encourage you to do your own research on this and other matters that I talk about also. In general, comparing gold with currencies should provide you with all the evidence you need to have an understanding that something is seriously amiss with all the currencies in the world. If the price of gold measured in that currency is high, then you know that the real value of the currency is low. When comparing currencies to either gold or silver, currencies will be found wanting. Anyway, this is the principal reason that our overlords manipulate the price of precious metals. They know that if they suppress the price of gold or silver in dollar terms, or whatever currency, then the value of the dollar or whatever currency will be seen as better than it truly is. So if they didn't do their price suppression, then the price of gold in currency terms would be far, far higher than it is now, and people would realise that something was wrong. It's really that simple. It's all about perceptions. Perception management is the name of the game because perceptions are very important for our overlords in order for them to keep in control and maintain power. They are, without doubt, a bunch of crafty cunts. Precious metals are then the proverbial canaries in the coal mine. They alert people as to what is actually occurring with regard to the status of a currency. How so? Well, because precious metals hold their value over time. Their value remains relatively stable. They are a good store of value. The same cannot be said of currencies, especially unbacked fiat currencies. Earlier, I said we're in the midst of a currency crisis. Most people are unaware of this because the decline of currencies has been gradual. But we've entered the final phase, and at some point things are going to start to get decidedly wonky and wacky, and then it will become all too apparent to everyone. I've described this elsewhere as a financial tsunami. When this financial tsunami hits land, gold and silver will shine. I should also say that inflation that we're witnessing is part of this currency crisis. At some point in the not too distant future, we'll move from inflation to hyperinflation. But I'll talk about this in the videos I've discussed after the price action in gold. I split this topic into a number of videos, so there's another however many to follow. In the next video, I'll talk about price of precious metals in the future. Wise up and rise up.